Did Ronald McDonald and Wendy from the SML videos used to be a thing? Yeah, you heard it right. We're talking about a full-blown, greasy love affair gone wrong. Well, I think I've found some evidence that these two used to be a couple. Let's dive in. Think about it. These two are constantly at each other's throats, trading insults and sabotaging each other's businesses like it's nobody's business. But what if all that beef stems from a broken heart? When we first met Wendy, right off the bat, the contrast between her and Ronald is insane. Ronald, as we know, is a complete train wreck, a foul-mouthed, alcoholic CEO who's always one bad decision away from a PR nightmare. In fact, this man is a PR nightmare. Wendy, though, is the complete opposite. She's the picture of composure, a savvy businesswoman who's all about quality and doing things the right way. So how could these two polar opposites ever have been a thing? Well, that's where things get interesting. The sheer intensity of their hatred, the way they go for the jugular with every insult, suggests a history that goes way beyond the average corporate rivalry. It's like they know each other's deepest secrets, their biggest weaknesses, and they're not afraid to use them. So now we're gonna break down the evidence piece by greasy piece to see if this theory holds up any water. Like and subscribe, and let's dive in. To understand how Ronald and Wendy could have gone from lovebirds to sworn enemies, we gotta look at their individual histories in the SML universe. Ronald, as we see in episodes like The Golden Nugget, is the definition of a corporate scumbag. He's obsessed with money, women, and keeping McDonald's on top, no matter the cost. This dude is constantly making terrible decisions, blowing company cash at the casino and almost causing mass panic over mad cow disease. He's a walking PR disaster, but somehow he's still in charge. Wendy, on the other hand, only gets a couple brief appearances, but she makes a lasting impression. She's a strong, independent businesswoman who's not afraid to stand up to Ronald's BS. While Ronald's out there making a fool of himself, Wendy's calmly defending her company's reputation and proving that Wendy's is the better choice. On the surface, their personalities are like oil and water. Ronald's a chaotic mess, while Wendy's all about order and control. It's hard to imagine them ever being compatible, let alone romantically involved. But here's the thing, their confrontation in The Purple Problem hints at a deeper connection. When Wendy points out that she beat Ronald to the punch with the purple Frosty, he doesn't just give a standard corporate response. He goes off on a personal rant attacking the quality of Wendy's food and her business practices. The level of detail in Ronald's insults is what's really suspicious. He knows way too much about Wendy's operation for a simple competitor. It's like he's been behind the scenes, maybe even had access to confidential information. This suggests a level of intimacy and closeness that goes beyond your typical business rival. Could it be that Ronald's anger stems from a place of betrayal? Did Wendy break his heart, leaving him with a bitter grudge that fuels his relentless attacks? Well, let's dig deeper into their interactions and see if we can find more evidence. The scene that really fuels the Ronald-Wendy romance theory is their heated exchange in The Purple Problem. As their argument escalates, Ronald throws out some seriously personal insults that go way beyond your typical corporate trash talk. He says things like,
"If your meat is never frozen, then my balls are never soft, and that shit is highly unlikely."
Well, at least our ice cream machines aren't broken.
And don't get me started on your Frosties. You're telling me you gotta dip your french fries in ice cream to make it taste good? My shit is always good. Michael Jackson loved our shit. And you know what? He even wanted a fry machine in his house.
Now on the surface, this just sounds like Ronald being his usual unhinged self. But let's break it down. How would Ronald, the CEO of a massive corporation, know such specific details about Wendy's food prep and product lineup? It's like he's got insider knowledge, information that only someone close to Wendy would have. And the hatred in his voice, the pure bitterness dripping from every word, it screams of a lover in pain. It's not just business competition, it's personal. It's like he's still carrying the pain of a past betrayal. He's taking it out on Wendy with these vicious attacks. Wendy, on the other hand, handles Ronald's assault with remarkable composure. She defends her company, sure, but she never stoops to his level of personal attacks. She stays calm, cool, and collected, like she's seen this all before and knows exactly how to deal with Ronald's childish outbursts. The difference in their reactions is telling. It's like Wendy's moved on, while Ronald's still stuck in the past, unable to let go of the hurt and anger. Her ability to brush off his insults suggests she's come to expect this kind of behavior from him, maybe even pities him for it. So what could have happened between them Why is Ronald so bitter? And why is Wendy so unfazed? To answer these questions, we need to look at Ronald's established character and see if it holds any clues about his past romantic life. One thing's for sure about Ronald in the SML universe. The dude is a walking, talking impulse. He's constantly giving in to the worst desires, even if it means screwing over his business or his reputation. Remember Junior's free fries? Ronald goes completely bonkers over those coupons, breaking into Chef Pee-Pee's house and causing all sorts of destruction. This obsessive need for instant gratification, coupled with his complete disregard for any consequences, paints a pretty clear picture of how a relationship with the level-headed Wendy might have gone down in flames. Ronald's a notorious sexist too. He even admits to being addicted to hiring women for certain activities. I can't say the actual word on YouTube. In Brooklyn Guy Tries to Help. Not exactly the kind of guy you'd expect to settle down with a principled businesswoman like Wendy. Imagine for a second that Wendy actually fell for Ronald's charms. Maybe she saw something in him, a spark of ambition or creativity that she thought she could nurture. But over time, his constant cheating, his substance abuse, and his reckless behavior would have become impossible to ignore. Wendy, with her strong morals and dedication to her business, wouldn't have tolerated that kind of BS for long. Her reaction to Ronald's insults in The Purple Problem suddenly takes on a new meaning. It's not just professionalism, it's the example of someone who's been through this abuse before. She's seen Ronald at his worst, and she's not surprised by his pathetic attempts to bring her down with him. Maybe Wendy's fierce determination to build Wendy's into a successful, ethical empire stems from her past experience with Ronald. She saw firsthand how his lack of control and integrity could destroy everything, and she's determined to create something better, something that she can be proud of. So, while we don't have concrete proof of their relationship, the evidence from Ronald's behavior and Wendy's reactions strongly suggests a past romance gone sour. Let's try to piece together a potential timeline for their love affair and see how it all might have unfolded. So, how did this theoretical romance between Ronald and Wendy begin, and what led to its demise? Let's imagine a scenario where they met as young, ambitious entrepreneurs, both with the dreams of shaking up the fast food industry. Picture a young Ronald, full of charm and rebellious energy, rejecting the stuffy corporate world, embracing a philosophy of pure indulgence. It's all about delicious, greasy food that makes people happy, and his passion is infectious. Wendy, equally driven and ambitious, might have been drawn to his boldness and his vision. They were two rebels with a cause, united by their desire to create something new and exciting. In those early days, Ronald's impulsiveness might have seemed charming, a sign of his free spirit and his willingness to take risks. But as their businesses grew, those same qualities would have become a liability. Wendy, with her focus on quality and ethical practices, would have realized that Ronald's recklessness was a threat to everything that they were building. His constant partying, his shady business deals, and his inability to stay faithful would have created a growing rift between them. Wendy, their strong moral compass, would have found it increasingly difficult to reconcile her love for Ronald with his destructive behavior. The breaking point might have come when Wendy realized she had to choose between her love for Ronald and her love for her business. To save Wendy's, she had to cut ties with Ronald and his toxic influence. It would have been a painful decision, but a necessary one. This betrayal, from Ronald's perspective, would have been devastating. He might have felt abandoned, rejected by the one person who truly understood his vision. His anger and resentment would have festered, transforming into the bitter rivalry we see today. Their current hatred, fueled by years of unresolved hurt and betrayal, is a constant reminder of what they once had and what they once lost. It's a tragic love story, hidden beneath layers of corporate warfare and greasy insults. So, do you think this theory is true? Let me know down in the comments below and suggest your own theories for future videos, and make sure to like and subscribe and watch the theory on screen now because it's going to be better than this one.